from University of Pune. Actually, he has multi-talented person. In this journey, he has had many responsible position is as a journalist, as a report writer, as a research scholar. Actually, he has published a number of articles and essay in Lokmat as well as Divya Marathi newspaper. He has risen to the position as a junior research fellow from Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute, Kolkata, West Bengal. Now, I request to respected honorable speaker, Rohan sir, please start your session. Thank you.
हाय सुभान, माझा आवाज ऐकू येतोय? सुभान?
हो, क्लिअर येतोय सर. तुमचा आवाज येतोय. हो, क्लिअर येतोय. थोडा हा लेट येतोय पण क्लिअर येतोय. हो सर. ओके सर. हॅलो. येतोय का फोन? रोहन सरांचा फोन. हो, येतोय. येतोय का आवाज? हॅलो. रोहन, येतोय आवाज मला? हा, येतोय आवाज. स्टार्ट करा तुम्ही सेशन. नाही, सर्व्हरचा प्रॉब्लेम आहे. नाही, रोहनच्या तिथे नेटवर्क नाही. तिकडे प्रॉब्लेम येतो. रोहन, तुमचा माईक आणि व्हिडिओ दोन्ही बंद आहे. प्लीज अनम्यूट करा. काही तांत्रिक अडचणीमुळे थोडं अडचण येते. थोडं चालूच होईल आपलं सेशन. नेटवर्क किंवा नेटवर्क कंजम्पशन असेल किंवा टेक्निकली इश्यू असतील, आतापर्यंत ते आपल्यासोबतच जुळून होते. थोडा अवधी द्या. तसंच जेव्हा क्वेश्चन आन्सर सेशन असेल, त्या क्वेश्चन आन्सर सेशन मध्ये तुम्ही चॅट बॉक्स मध्ये पण क्वेश्चन्स टाकू शकता. चॅट बॉक्स सेशन मध्ये पण क्वेश्चन पाठवू शकता. जर तुम्हाला लाईव्ह येऊन विचारायचे नसतील क्वेश्चन, तर प्लीज चॅट बॉक्स मध्ये क्लिअर करा. आणि आपले माईक प्लीज म्यूट ठेवा, कारण तुमचे माईक अनम्यूट होतात आणि त्याच्यामुळे साऊंड येतो आणि डिस्टर्बन्स क्रिएट होतात.
Excuse me, sir. Good morning. Actually, we are from outside of Maharashtra, so please also use English or Hindi. So because we cannot able to understand what you're talking about in Marathi. Please.
Okay, Sachin. Okay, definitely we are speaking to English. I will talk, but I am comfortable to Marathi. That's why I'm using the Marathi. So definitely you are say good one.
Nee, so you are saying that like you shared a point of view that asking question in chat box, I didn't understand what was you trying to say. That's why I'm saying it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
नहीं पी एक बात पहले दोबारा वाली नहीं पियेंगे इसी को बनाए और अच्छी बना दे जो पीता उसके लिए बना दे लेकिन तो शरण जी बस कुलदीप के नाम मुझे लगता नहीं कि कोई और पीना चाहता है चाय
नहीं कुलदीप और आलोक पीना चाहते
नहीं आलोक नहीं चाहते मैंने बात की ना
रोहन तुम्ही अनम्यूटच आहात हा
सुभान येतोय माझा आवाज?
हो क्लिअर येतोय तुझा एकदम
हो
क्लिअर
सर. तुझा आवाज येत
स्पष्ट
नाही.
आहे माझा आवाज येत नाही का तुला आवाज येतोय का
हॅलो.
तुझा आवाज क्लिअर येतोय क्लिअर आहे रोहन आवाज पोहोचतो का रोहन
रोहन सर तुमचा आवाज येतोय सर तुमचा आवाज येतोय तुम्ही बोला
कुमार सर
सर आवाज आ रही क्या कैन यू हियर मी सर त्यांचा माइक
हॅलो. आता ऐकू येतोय माझा आवाज?
हो, क्लिअर क्लिअर एकदम क्लिअर येतोय रोहन.
आता ऐकू येतोय?
तुला हो एकदम एकदम
मला
बेस्ट.
पण माझाच आवाज ऐकू येतोय.
ओके. आम्हाला पण तुझा आवाज क्लिअर येतोय.
तुम्हाला
पण मला तुझा आवाज नाही येत.
आम्हा सर्वांना तुझा
विलास
आवाज
सर
क्लिअर
तुमचा?
येतोय. हा रोहन तुझा आवाज पोहोचतोय, फक्त तुला आवाज पोहोचत नाहीये.
सांगू का? रोहन सर, प्लीज स्टार्ट युअर लेक्चर सर. हॅलो. हॅलो रोहन सर, कॅन यू हिअर मी? हॅलो. सकट लॉकडाऊन चालू ठेवलं असतं.
हॅलो.
हेलो हेलो, आवाज आ रही है मेरी सबको?
यस सर।
हाँ,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
थोड़ा
Yes, sir.
इंटरप्ट के लिए आपसे ये एपोलॉजी ये करता हूँ कि वो थोड़ा रोहन सर को टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है थोड़ा उनके मोबाइल डिवाइस में, तो वो शॉर्टली हम जल्दी से क्लियर करके उनको ऑनलाइन आपके सामने प्रेजेंट करेंगे। तो थोड़ा अब तक जो पिछले 2 दिन से जो वर्कशॉप का भी अपना तीसरा दिन है, तो इसमें आपसे एक बात मुझे पार्टिसिपेंट से करनी है कि आपके जो सजेशन रहेंगे या ये वर्कशॉप के बारे में आपके जो अच्छे सजेशन रहेंगे वो हमारे लिए काफी इम्पोर्टेंट रहेंगे। तो आपका जो भी एक्सपीरियंस इस वर्कशॉप में आता है, अच्छा बुरा या कुछ ऐसे प्रोग्रेसिव सजेशन होंगे तो आप हमें बताइएगा। अगले प्रोग्राम को हम और अच्छी तरह करने का ट्राई करेंगे। टेक्निकल इशू जो रहता है जो अपने हाथ में नहीं रहता है, तो थोड़ा बहुत टेक्निकल इशू आज आ चुका है, तो उसको जल्द से जल्द शॉर्ट लिस्ट करके हम उसको क्लियर
Yes,
करने
sir.
का ट्राई
Yes,
करेंगे।
sir.
ओके। और जिस सबको हेलो रोहन सर, रोहन सर,
हाँ.
रोहन सर कैन यू हियर मी? हेलो हेलो रोहन सर। तो सब पार्टिसिपेंट से एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि जिन्होंने अपने अगर रजिस्ट्रेशन आपका अगर बाकी हो तो जल्द से जल्द रजिस्ट्रेशन करवा लीजिए, और आपके जो कलीग्स हो या स्टूडेंट्स हो गए तो उनको भी बताइएगा इस वर्कशॉप के बारे में। अपना ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन 27 तारीख तक ओपन ही रहने वाला है। तो इसके फैकल्टीज के लिए जो एपीआई रहेगा उसके लिए भी ये वर्कशॉप उनके लिए यूजफुल रहेगा, और जो रिसर्च स्कॉलर है उनको काफी इस वर्कशॉप से कुछ अच्छे आउटपुट्स मिल सकते हैं, नए एप्लीकेशन नए इंफॉर्मेशन उनको मिल सकती है, नॉट ओनली फॉर डिफेंस एंड स्टडीज, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन, नेशनल सिक्योरिटी के बारे में। दूसरा, अभी कल से जो आने वाले स्पीकर है डॉक्टर कुमार सर, वो भी आज हमारे साथ ज्वाइन है। उसके बाद में ब्रिगेडियर हेमंत महाजन सर है, बाद में मुदस्सर मोहम्मद मुदस्सर कमर है, आईडीएसए के वो एसोसिएट फेलो है। उसके बाद में लास्ट जो हमारा लेक्चर सेशन है वो है प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर दिलीप मोहिते सर का, वो भी काफी अच्छे टॉपिक के ऊपर है, चाइना पाकिस्तान स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का एक सब्जेक्ट को वो इंट्रोड्यूस कर एड्रेस करने वाले हैं। तो अच्छे अच्छे टॉपिक्स हमने इस वर्कशॉप में आपके लिए ऑर्गेनाइज करने का प्लान किया है। तो आप सबसे निवेदन है कि जितना आपने हमें अब तक सपोर्ट किया है, आपका इंथुजियाज्म बहुत अच्छा रहा है, वैसा ही आपका सपोर्ट हमें 27 तारीख तक आखिरी दिन तक आप बरकरार रखें। अगर किसी ने रजिस्ट्रेशन किया अब तक किया नहीं होगा तो आप रजिस्ट्रेशन भी करवा सकते हैं आखिरी के दिनों तक, और कुछ सजेशन होंगे तो आप मुझे बता सकते हैं। ओके सचिन, दिल्ली से कितने रजिस्ट्रेशन आपने आपके कलीग वगैरह आपने बताया किसी को?
तुषार सर, माझा आवाज येतोय तुम्हाला?
हाँ येतोय सर, येतोय। रोहन सर
ओके,
स्टार्ट।
चालेल. बेस्ट. मी मोबाईल ठीक आहे, चालेल.
हो हेलो हेलो ऑल पार्टिसिपेंट, मिस्टर रोहन चौधरी हमें अभी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, उनका प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो गया टेक्निकल। तो ज्यादा समय न लेते हुए मैं सर को इंट्रोड्यूस करता हूँ कि वो अपने सेशन की शुरुआत करें। रोहन चौधरी सर, प्लीज वेलकम।
ओके, थँक यू. सर, आय विल बी बायलिंग्वल. ओके, नो प्रॉब्लेम ना? या यू वांट मी टू स्पीक इन मराठी?
यस सर, इंग्लिश और मराठी बायलैंग्वेज किया तो चले, कोई बात नहीं।
ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम, नो प्रॉब्लम.
रोहन सर
I don't
प्लीज
understand
स्टार्ट योर
Marathi.
वीडियो। रोहन सर अपना वीडियो शुरू करना दीजिए।
सर, वीडियो का कोई प्रॉब्लम है, मैं ऐसे ही बात करता हूँ.
हाँ ठीक है।
Okay. Okay. Let me firstly pay my sincere tribute to Kavitri Bhainabai Chaudhary. Her journey from an illiterate cotton farmer to become a noted Marathi poet has inspired many generations and will inspire future generations. I think before start to my lecture, I think it is noteworthy to mention her poem in Marathi, and which is very apt for my presentation also. The poem is "अरे संसार संसार जसा तवा चुल्यावर आधी हाताला चटके तवा मिळते भाकर." And this is actually applies to India's foreign policy also, because the journey of India's foreign policy is nothing but a struggle for its own identity. It has many obstacles, both domestic as well as external. But despite that, India successfully made its prominent place in the global platform today. So, in a sense, की आपल्याला खूप चटके बसलेले आहेत, तेव्हा कुठं आता 21व्या शतकातल्या दुसऱ्या दशकात जाऊन आपल्याला एक प्रकारचं प्रॉमिनियन्स नाव किंवा एक स्थान जागतिक राजकारणात मिळालेलं आहे. I'm greatly thankful to Chief Patron of the workshop and Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor P.P. Malukar, Patron and Pro Vice Chancellor of this university, the Chief Guest, Professor B.V. Pawar, for supporting this event. These types of workshops are a need of a time, especially when the source of knowledge for today's generation is coming from WhatsApp University. And I'm really thankful, sir, for organizing and guiding this workshop. My sincere thanks to Dr.
रजिस्ट्रेशन 27 तारखेपर्यंत पण आता तो सेमिनार करून घ्यायचा.
My sincere thanks to Dr. Anil Chikti, sir, Director, School of Arts and Humanities and organizer of 1 week workshop, for giving me this opportunity. Organizing secretary and convener, my friend, Professor Dr. Tushar Rai Singh, and my classmate during my MA Defense and Strategic Studies in Pune University, Dr. Subhan Zadav. I know it's very formal to say you both of you to thank you, but I must mention this is from your order. Because of your order, I am here. Thanking my young friends who have slotted time for this workshop. What I will do in next 40 to 45 minutes, as title suggests, the changing dimensions of India's foreign policy. There are a number of ways we can speak on India's foreign policy, like region-wise, like nation to nation, but I will choose to speak from the historical perspective. Since I have divided five timing period, which can elaborate you how the dimensions of foreign policy has changed. Before that, J. Bandyopadhyay, a noted scholar, gave a very good definition of India's foreign policy. He says, the making of foreign policy is very important, because this is a workshop. So this is not, I'm not treating it as a lecture, but workshop. So we can at least give a sense of what is foreign policy. That's why I bring some kind of definitions here. The making of foreign policy is essentially an exercise in the choice of ends and means on the part of a nation state in an international setting. A very important definition, especially those who are aspire to learn foreign policy in future. Three important things in definition is to elaborate further talk. First, exercise in the choice of aims and means, meaning what you want to achieve in an international setting and how you will achieve. Two most important things. Second, on the part of nation state. Here, nation state means India. And in international setting, meaning what kind of international setting are you operating in? The nature of international orders, international relations, structure of international relations. So, in a nutshell, foreign policy is not one-side affair, not one-way traffic like this. It is in a way a response to international orders, international settings, and international relations. So we can roughly say foreign policy is a vehicle, nation state is a driver who run that vehicle, and international order is a highway. So to pass this journey, I will give you a glimpses of India's foreign policy from 1905 to present day. I have divided into 6 distinct historical sections. It will also attempt to explain the underlying reasons for these policies, India's initial orientation and subsequent shifts that occurred. As I said, if you want to study and if you have to study foreign policy, it is mandatory, compulsory to know the contemporary international politics around which we are operating. So the first section deals with the period from 1905 to 1947, the second from 1947 to 2009, and fifth one is from 2009 to present. I know this is a long journey, but I will make sure that you won't get bored, because this is a very interesting topic and need to invest some time to understand, because these days, especially during Corona period, Biden's election, China's intervention, and many other things happen in and around with us. So it is necessary to understand the historical roots of India's foreign policy. कारण आजचं जे काही चाललेलं आहे, त्याचा जो बेस आहे किंवा त्याची जी हिस्ट्री आहे ती फार महत्वाची आहे. ती समजून घेतल्याशिवाय आपल्याला कदाचित आजच्या गोष्टींचा रिलेव्हन्स लागणार नाही. आपण म्हणतो ना की इतिहास हा भविष्य काळाचा मार्गदर्शक असतो आणि तो वर्तमान काळात फार तटस्थपणे बघता आला पाहिजे. And before actual start of my presentation, one more important thing, as title suggests, henceforth we have to start to look differently towards foreign policy. म्हणजे आपल्याला विदेशी धोरणाकडेच एक दुसऱ्या पद्धतीने बघावं लागेल. Most of the people look foreign policy from 1947, obviously became when India became independent. But it is insufficient to look India's foreign policy from 1947, because Indian national leaders during their colonial struggle had some kind of opinions about India's external engagement, understand India's past independence foreign policy. So the first section I have incorporated to understand what is actually going on. There are a number of other ways. My dividation is not final. It is not, I can't claim it is complete, but this is just a way to deliver the talk which I'm extremely sorry. Is there is a disturbances from? Okay, so हे जर आपल्याला जर आपण समजून घेतलं नाही तर आपल्याला कदाचित फॉरेन पॉलिसीचा अर्थच कळणार नाही असं आपल्याला म्हणावं लागेल. म्हणून ज्या the period which I have mentioned, I have given them a nomenclature name. Okay, so roughly, and again this is not final, this is an age of creation, 1905 to 1947. It's an age of creation. Though 1947 we started actual our foreign policy, there are lots of turbulence. खूप विचारमंथन झालेलं आहे आणि इतकं विचारमंथन झालेलं आहे की आपल्याला त्याचे फुटप्रिंट्स अगदी आतापर्यंत देखील दिसून येतात. We can see it right now. So the age of creation लक्षात घ्यायला लागेल. We must remember that 1914 to 1947 is a period of 2 world wars. Europe was actually scattered. 2 big wars, and the whole, because of Britain, we were colonized at that time. So whatever situations happen in Europe, it had already impacted on us. So despite that, Indian leaders trying to give a sense of India's external engagement. And to start with, in 1905, when a teeny small country like Japan defeated big Russian forces in war, after that victory of Japan, Lala Lajpat Rai urged India to accept the leadership of Japan to fight against European evils. You can little bit correlate with why Subhash Chandra Bose took help of Japan. He wanted to Asian nations need to come under the umbrella of Asian consciousness, Asianness. Most interestingly, in 1906, he visited United States and was there until 1999. कारण ब्रिटिशांनी त्यांना भारतात यायची परवानगी दिली नव्हती. In 1996, his book, The United States of America, A Hindu's Impression and Study, was published. Very important. In this book, he compared, and please listen carefully, in this book, he compared the status of African American, both with the lowest caste in India. I repeat, in this book, he compared the status of African American, both with the lowest caste in India and with Indians under British rule. Look at the foresight of these people, and that's fascinating to study this. The second important event during this period is in 1919, Bal Gangadhar Tilak wrote a memorandum to George Clemeau, written for the Paris Peace Conference. Paris Peace Conference was basically a conference which was organized after the First World War to understand the reasons and to solve the remedies from the First World War. It was not only the humble submission for India's right of self-determination, but also the founding document of India's foreign policy. And characteristics of these documents are, it is said that India will adopt a policy of non-aloofness. You can see that why non-alignment is important during that period. Its geography and natural resources will make India an international leader. Annihilation of imperialism and colonialism. साम्राज्यवादाचा आणि वसाहतवादाचं समूळ उच्चाटन. No use of force and Asian consciousness. हे जे काही 5 मुद्दे होते ते त्या मेमोरंडमचे महत्वाचे मुद्दे होते, जे आपल्याला नेहरूंनी आखलेल्या पुढच्या फॉरेन पॉलिसीमध्ये दिसून येतं. टिळक was not only contributor in this document. Other two are very important. One is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and Sayyid Imam Hassan, who was the Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court. In 1927, the third important thing is Nehru wrote a document titled A Foreign Policy for India to present in the Congress Adhiveshan. In this essay, he drew dark solace from the fact that every liberation movement in the past general reaction means their eye was a constant on the movements on the outside India. This document was early intimations of how India's sense of itself in the world would shape its foreign policy outlook. In addition to these three, Dr. Tagore, his internationalism, its relations with China, which we can take in the question hour sessions. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's contribution is his piece in the political imagination is noteworthy, but I request organizers, we have some detailed discussion on Ambedkar's contribution in India's foreign policy in future. At the same time, in 1926, Nehru attended a conference which was organized to fight against imperialism. So, if you see, when India became independent in 1947, India had already it's in mind that how we are going to operate in a foreign policy. And for that, when in 1945 United Nations established, India was the founding member of that. Others also, I'm not going into detail, but just the cursory mention of the K.M. Panikar, a noted historian, naval historian. He's also attempted some kind of a job like in his book Asia and Western Dominance, where he is trying to get Asian consciousness. And I think this is very important to understand that there are a number of other national leaders who are engaging for India's international engagement with value oriented. I can say with value oriented, means against colonialism, imperialism, peaceful way of nations affairs, etc., etc. The second period starts from here, and that is, I called it as a policy in action. Means you have something dream in your mind, and now you are actually implementing that dream into a daily life. And this period is roughly from 1947 to 1962. As I said, it is a legacy, means they are first stage, second stage, third stage. And here the dimensions has changed with little bit, because as I said, what was the international setting at that time? You the end of the World War II with a very disastrous nuclear attack on Japan. Human beings were witness the catastrophe of the war. Cold War started between United States and USSR. Lots of new nations became independent, like India itself, especially in Africa and South Asia and Latin America. So, as we know, there are one group led by United States, the second group led by Soviet Union. Now, this is the third group, we can say, comes from the non-alignment movement. And we have the first expression of this leadership tenets from the Indian point of view. India's leadership in the outside world is in roughly 55. It's Asian 1947, sorry, Asian Relation Conference. This conference is very important. Symbolically, it is very important because this conference brought together many leaders of the independence movement in Asia and represented the first attempt to assertion Asian unity. So because this is the reaction to European colonialism and imperialism. So Asianness, later we will come into that, but you can see the India-China relations from this point of view also. Second, again, the most important, where India's leadership quality can be seen, is the Bandung Conference. This was a meeting of Asian and African states, most of which were newly independent, and aim was to promote Afro-Asian economic and cultural cooperation and to oppose colonialism and neocolonialism. It exemplifies that as a leader of the non-aligned movement, India made a significant contribution toward the process of decolonization. Not only this, but India was a key member of Neutral Nations Repatriation Commission in Korea. Also, India was a significant troop contribution to the United Nations peacekeeping forces in the Belgian Congo. India also emerged as one of the early proponents of nuclear test ban treaty and had introduced a draft resolution corresponds with Ireland. In this fashion, it preferred Kashmir dispute with Pakistan to UN. We can discuss later in question hour session. And India, at the same time, India chose to use of force against Portuguese to liberate Goa. We must remember that Portuguese was at that time was a NATO member, and if you attack any single NATO member, it was considered as a attack on all. So you can understand that how the end of this second period is important. Third phase is very big phase, and it's an age of reality. What I called it as an age of reality. As all of us know, it started from a defeat of, it started from a catastrophic defeat of India from China. And the whole concept of the third dimensions, which has changed completely. 1962च्या युद्धामुळं भारतीय परराष्ट्र धोरणाच्या संपूर्ण मानसिकतेवरच इतका परिणाम झाला की आतापर्यंत आपण जे बघत होतो त्याच्यावर एक फार मोठा हल्ला होता. म्हणून मी त्याला म्हणतो एज ऑफ रियालिटी. अँड फर्दर इन 1964 द China's nuclear test alarmed India's security concern. Means we have a 1962 war and 1964 China's nuclear test. ह्या दोन घटनांमुळे भारताचा जो व्हॅल्यू ओरिएंटेड फॉरेन पॉलिसीवर जो विश्वास होता, जो आधार होता भारतीय परराष्ट्र धोरणाचा, तो थोड्या प्रमाणात आपल्याला पुढे बदललेला दिसतो. आणि वास्तववादी राजकारण ज्याला आपण म्हणतो त्याचं महत्व जास्त होतं आणि व्हॅल्यू ओरिएंटेड होतं ते थोडंसं द्वितीय स्थानावर गेल्याचं आपल्याला दिसून येतं. And you know that 1965 war confirmed India's nature of war. What happened in 1965 war is important from the foreign policy perspective, was that from that period the nature of war changed. Means आता भारताला दोन्हीकडून युद्धाचा धोका होता, म्हणजे आम्ही त्याला टू फ्रंट वॉर असं म्हणतो. ओके, सो 1965 in that sense was the most important war because it created a permanent situation of two front war. At that time, how India also support to the decolonization continued, but in 1971, just to mention, 1968 we have this green revolution. We were having self-independent or self-sufficient in the food level. 1971 war with Pakistan or East Pakistan and the today's Bangladesh has now changed the another posture. What happened in 1971 is important because at the same time we made a treaty with Soviet Union. So the teenage of non-alignment was started disappearing, and in 1974 you all are aware we had a first nuclear test. After that, India became undisputed leader in South Asia because you have Russia with you, you had a nuclear bomb with you, you had a very good experience of war, 2 wars in fact. So in a sense India became undisputed leader in the South Asia. परंतु हा जो काही आनंद आहे तो काही फार काळ टिकलेला आपल्याला दिसून येत नाही. कारण at the same time when India became undisputed leader of South Asia, something happened outside also, and that is the after two front war. This is, for me, this is very important. What happened? Actually, United States, Kissinger's secret visit to China, Pakistan, US alliance, and Pakistan-China alliance. So henceforth, India has to face these three axes: Pakistan, United States, and China. But as I said, की हा आनंद आपल्याला फार काळ टिकवता आला नाही, कारण एकीकडे पाकिस्तान, US आणि चायना यांची युती होते, तर दुसरीकडे आपल्याला रशियाकडे आपण गेल्यामुळे रशियाच्या हंगेरीच्या इंटरव्हेन्शन बद्दल आपण काहीच बोलले नसल्यामुळे नॉन अलाइनमेंट मुवमेंटच्या पर्स्पेक्टिव्हनं देखील भारतीयांच्यावर काही प्रमाणात संशय व्यक्त करण्यात आला. आणि 1971 साली आपण जो सोव्हिएत रशिया बरोबर ट्रेटी केलेली त्याचे थोडेसे दुष्परिणाम आपल्याला जाणवायला लागले. What happened in 1971 is the most important thing, and I claim that the source of India's terrorism came from there. Okay, what happened in 1979? 79 without asking India. I emphasize without informing India, Soviet Union intervention in Afghanistan and the Cold War brought into the South Asian battlefield, South Asian soil. And so next 10 years, as you know, that Afghanistan was the hotspot in the Cold War. It culminated in the 1989 and United Soviet Russian is disintegrated into 15 states. But remember, in 1989, there was a UPSPA in Kashmir. Is there any relationship between United States, Soviet Union's retreat from Afghanistan and the imposition of UPSPA in Kashmir? The answer is yes, because as we know, the Taliban, which was created to fight against Soviet forces, now turned to the Indian side. Pakistan, the United States gave massive economic fund, financial assistance to Pakistan to train Taliban. So Pakistan diverted this money to be called it as a non-traditional, non-conventional warfare, that is a terrorist. So you look at the relations between, as I said, 1979 is the most important event in India's foreign policy. It is not much debated, but sometimes we have to debate that what were the implications, in fact, what are the implications of 1979. आणि ह्या 1979 मुळे ना कम्प्लीट पिक्चर आपल्याला बदललेलं दिसतं. जसं मी म्हटलं 1989 साली जो काश्मीरमध्ये अशांतता निर्माण झाली त्याचं मूळ हे 1979 ते 1990च्या राजकारणात होतं आणि ते आपल्याला परत परत एकदा तपासून बघावं लागेल. कारण माझ्या मते हा निव्वळ योगायोग नाहीये, तर त्या काळचं जे इंटरनॅशनल सेटिंग होतं ज्याच्यामुळे आपल्याला हा प्रॉब्लेम फेस करावा लागलेला आहे. And in that period, in 1980s, you have a Khalistani movement, and 1988, if I'm not wrong, or 1988-89, we have a Maldives incident, and we have again the disastrous impact on this Sri Lankan intervention to fight against LTTE. Look at the three pictures. You have a Khalistani movement, you have a 1989 Kashmir separatist, and at the same time you have a Tamil separatist in the south. So the nature of security had changed and it had impacted on our foreign policy. So that's why I called it as an age of reality. And then we came into 1991. If you would ask me, then after 1947, 1991 was the most impactful duration or period for not only India's foreign policy, but for the international setting also. That's why I called it as an age of resurgence, rejuvenation. आपण 1991 हा जो कालखंड होता तो आपल्या दृष्टीने इतका मोठा होता की आपल्याला असं लक्षात येईल की शेवटच्या दशकात म्हणजे साधारणतः 2000च्या ह्याच्यात की भारत एक इमर्जिंग पॉवर अशी एक चर्चा चालू झाली आणि त्याचं काहीच जे मूळ आहे ते आपल्याला 1991 मध्ये दिसून येतं. 1991 मध्ये आपल्याला काय दिसून येतं? As I said that we were with Soviet Union, as I said in 1971 treaty. Now the Soviet Union had disappeared. It was disintegrated. So India इतकं की जेव्हा वाजपेयी आणि क्लिंटन यांची भेट झाली तेव्हा वाजपेयींनी त्याचा उल्लेख हा नैसर्गिक पार्टनर, नॅशनल पार्टनर असा केलेला. आणि but at the same time, as I said, international setting was unipolar movement. म्हणजे आता बघा आपल्याकडे दोन गोष्टी आहेत. सोव्हिएत युनियन गेल्यामुळं इंटरनॅशनल सेटिंग मध्ये आपल्याला अमेरिका एकमेव ताकद दिसते. ऍट द सेम टाइम जसा मी उल्लेख केला तसा सुरक्षेमध्ये आपल्याला बदल झालेला. म्हणजे आता टू फ्रंट आपल्याला समोरासमोर युद्ध होणार नाही, तर ज्याला मी नॉन कन्व्हेन्शनल वॉरफेअर असं म्हणतो, ते एका ठिकाणी स्टार्ट झालं. आणि ऍट द सेम टाइम in domestic politics also, the communal politics started to get momentum. 1992 Babri Masjid and 1993 Bombay bomb blast. So the whole structure had changed during that period. But despite that, India performed in very well. And I think a Lucist policy, as we know, that is the most important thing. कारण आपण लुकिस्ट पॉलिसीमध्ये आपण जे थायलंड, कंबोडिया, म्यानमार, मलेशिया यासारख्या राष्ट्रांशी संबंध वाढवण्यासाठी आपल्याला फार उपयोगाला आला. अगेन रिमेंबर व्हॉट लाला लजपत राय सेड, रिमेंबर टगोर सेड, अँड रिमेंबर व्हॉट नेहरू सेड अबाउट द एशियन कॉन्शियसनेस. हा एशियन कॉन्शियसनेस वाढायला लागला. at the same time, and this is one of the most important dimensions we need to look, is India's posture has been changed. Means now India started from not only continental India but from maritime India. Maritime dimensions of India's foreign policy. I will explain if the question come on that. Okay, so that's very in the first year of the 21st century, what happened? 2001. 1998 आणि 1999 अमेरिका आणि पाकिस्तान आणि भारताचं न्यूक्लिअर टेस्ट वगैरे या गोष्टी लक्षात ठेवता आपल्याला परत एकदा थोडस ऑसिलेट झालं की आपण सुरुवातीला खूप चांगला परफॉर्मन्स दिला, पण 1998 नंतर परत आपल्या समोरचे चॅलेंजेस वेगळ्या प्रकारे निर्माण झाले. आणि ते जे वेगळ्या प्रकारे निर्माण झाले that culminated into 2001 nuclear terrorist attack on America, World Trade Center. आपल्यापैकी बऱ्याच जणांना माहिती. म्हणजे थोडस जर आपल्याला विचार करायला जर विचार केला तर 1979 जो सोवियत इंटरव्हेन्शन इन अफगाणिस्तान was there, it has huge ramification on South Asia, and now it is ramifications on United States also. But again, it was a rebirth of 1979, we can say, because Osama bin Laden and all Talibani groups and Al-Qaeda groups were operated from Afghanistan. So again, United States attacked on Afghanistan, and then it also attacked on Iraq. So the whole world was in the state of war. And remember, very important, if you see 2001 to 2007, in India, you have a bomb blast in, I think, in every city, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad. So look at the relationship between this United States intervention in Afghanistan, Soviet Union's intervention in Afghanistan. You will find a very coincidence between these two events, that whenever Afghanistan became a target from the superpower, the terrorism in South Asia increased. जेव्हा जेव्हा अफगाणिस्तानवर कोणत्याही प्रकारचा हल्ला होतो, एस्पेशली मोठ्या राष्ट्रांकडून, तेव्हा तेव्हा आपल्या इथे दहशतवाद वाढत जातो. And that is interesting phenomena. And 2008, which ended with terrorist attack in Mumbai. And I think त्याच्यानंतर इंडिया US न्यूक्लिअर डील वगैरे झालं, परंतु माझ्याकडून जे राहून गेलं असेल ते आपण क्वेश्चन आवर सेशन मध्ये घेऊ. परंतु अशा तऱ्हेने द एज ऑफ रिसर्जन्स जो होता तो टेररिस्ट अटॅक मध्ये कन्व्हर्ट झाला आणि परत एकदा भारतासमोरच्या फॉरेन पॉलिसी समोरच्या मर्यादा किंवा परत एकदा रिथॉट आपल्याला घ्यावा लागला. द लास्ट सेशन इज 2009 to present. Okay, and this what I called is age of expansionism. Okay, आणि हा आता आपण ज्या जगात आहोत त्या जगात कदाचित आपल्याला त्याचं सिरियसनेस आपल्याला लक्षात येईल. What happened in 2008, 2009 is very important. Some people like me called it as the process of deglobalization. Okay, what happened? 2008, we know that there is a global crisis in America. Lehman Brothers प्रकरण आपल्यापैकी बऱ्याच जणांना माहित असेल. What happened in Lehman Brothers is it was actually impact of America's engagement in two continuous wars, that is Afghanistan and Iraq. So this period, the new debate has started in this period, that is America decline? Is America reliable for? Is China is rising? What will be the future of international relations under China? These important debates, we are living in these important events right now. सो ह्या प्रकारची जे काही क्वेश्चन आहे की अमेरिकेची ताकद आता संपत आलेली आहे, चायनाचा उदय होत आलेला आहे आणि त्यामुळे एक प्रकारचे ऑसिलेशन झालं, एक प्रकारचं जे चिंतेचं वातावरण जगभरात निर्माण झालं. त्याचं कारण हा वरकरणी टेररिझम होता. त्याच्याही आपण खोलात गेलो तर अमेरिकेची धोरणं होती आणि थोडंसं वरती बघितलं तर इराक आणि अफगाणिस्तान मधलं युद्ध होतं. आणि अल्टिमेटली भारताच्या 2008 मध्ये जेव्हा आपल्याकडे खूप मोठा अटॅक झाला मुंबईवर, तेव्हा आपल्या लक्षात आलं की हा प्रॉब्लेम. त्याच्यानंतरच्या पिरियड मध्ये वी वर इन द I'm not saying that this is a cold war or new cold war, but there is a conflict between US and China appeared in the international platform. So you have Asian rebalance to United States rebalance to Asia. The speech was given by Barack Obama in Australian Parliament, and at the same time, in 2011, in Foreign Policy, a prestigious magazine, where the then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton wrote an excellent article, that is US Pivot to Asia, where they declared that, categorically declared that, त्यांनी स्पष्टपणे असं सांगितलं होतं की from now the United States interest rest in the Asian phenomena, Asian region. So आपण त्याला अशा प्रकारे म्हणू शकतो की आता the pendulum of global power shifted from Europe to Asia, at the same time continental to maritime. मी असं का म्हटलं की मला माझा म्हणण्याचा असा उद्देश आहे की युरोप केंद्रित जे राजकारण होतं ते आता एशिया केंद्रित होणार आहे आणि त्याचप्रमाणे ते कंटिनेंटल टू मेरिटाईम होणार. पुढचे 3-4 इव्हेंट जर आपण बघितले तर आपल्याला लक्षात येईल की वाय आय एम सेइंग लाईक दिस. सो यू हॅव दिस US rebalance to Asia, as I said. China-Pakistan economic corridor, or we can say it's one belt, one road. Means from Europe to China, there is a highway, and in the south, there is a maritime Silk Route. This was considered as a China's categorical expression of now we are ready, and we are ready to influence the globe. 2015, I think Modi launched his Act East policy. As I said, Narasimha Rao launched Act East, Look East. Modi went further and he started Act East policy. The nature is simple. Means if you see from your perspective, you can see China's one belt, one road is actually influence on Asia. You see rebalance to Asia, and you see the Act East policy. These are all concentrated on Asian geopolitics. So when these three things happen simultaneously, 2015, one important event came into a picture, that is China-United States trade war. Okay, and at the same time, very important event, that Britain, the discussion over Brexit started. Because Britain decided to exit from European Union. These two things are very important from the perspective of deglobalization, because लक्षात घ्या होतं काय की ब्रिटनने युरोपियन युनियन मधनं बाहेर पडण्याचा जो निर्णय घेतला त्याच्या माग 2011 साली देर वेर वेस्ट एशियन पॉलिटिकल टर्मॉइल मीन्स युनायटेड स्टेट्स, फ्रान्स were intervened in the Libya, Syria, Egypt. They sack Hosni Mubarak, Mohammad Gaddafi, and all these, and they started looking from very different perspective. आणि त्यातून जे मायग्रेशन स्थलांतर झालं तेव्हा युरोपियन देशांना असं लक्षात आलं की स्थलांतरितांच्या मुळे दहशतवाद वाढत आहे, स्पेशली इस्लामिक दहशतवाद वाढत आहे. त्यामुळे आणि हे कशामुळे होत आहे तर युरोपियन युनियन जे आहे ज्याच्यामुळे म्हणजे युरोपियन युनियन मध्ये आपल्याला माहिती आहे इफ यू गेट व्हिसा ऑफ फ्रान्स यू कॅन रोम एनी ऑफ द युरोपियन सिटी लाईक दॅट. सो व्यापार आला, टेक्नॉलॉजी आली, हा सगळा नियम त्यांना लागू होता. ब्रिटनच्या असं लक्षात आलं की यामुळे आपलं खूप नुकसान होतंय म्हणून ब्रिटननं युरोपियन महासंघातून बाहेर पडण्याचा निर्णय घेतला. रिमेंबर ऍट द सेम टाइम Donald Trump came into power in the United States. Okay, and this whole hyper-nationalist leaders from Brazil, India, China, US, Russia, Nepal to Myanmar. इथं सगळीकडे एक प्रकारचा अल्ट्रा राष्ट्रवादाची एक आपल्याला लाट आलेली दिसते आणि त्याला लोकप्रियताही आपल्याला मिळाली दिसते. म्हणजे यातल्या बऱ्याचशा राष्ट्रांमध्ये लोकशाही नियुक्त सरकार निवडून आलेले आहेत ज्यांना अशा प्रकारची धोरणे आवडायला लागली. आणि त्यामुळं हे 2015 ट्रेड वॉर आणि ब्रेक्झिट यामुळं जे ग्लोबलायझेशन जागतिकीकरणाचे फायदे आपल्याला जे दिसत होते की मोठमोठाले शहरं निर्माण झालेले आहेत, आपल्याला रोजगार थोडाफार मिळायला चालू झालेला आहे, याला अचानकपणे ब्रेक बसला. आणि तो ब्रेक इतका बसला की त्याच्यानंतर कोरोना एंटर्ड इन टू आवर पॉलिटिक्स अँड द होल कन्सेप्ट ऑफ international politics or foreign policy become parochial. मतलब संकुचित दृष्टिकोनानुसार आपण जरासं थोडं वागायचा प्रयत्न करतो. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, व्हॉट इज अमेरिका फर्स्ट? वाय यू नीड अमेरिका फर्स्ट? चायनाज रिज्युनेशन, ह्युमिलेशन ऑफ सेंचुरी अँड रिज्युनेशन. चायनाचं पुनर्जीवन करायचं, पुनरुत्थान करायचं असं शी जिनपिंग भाषा बोलत होते. आपल्याकडे मोदींची भाषा ती होती आत्मनिर्भर भारत. ह्या ज्या सगळ्या भाषा आहेत, इफ यू सी अ सिमॅन्टिक proposition of these words, you can understand that actually we are adopting an introvert policy. We are not stating that, but actually we are proposing that now we are self-sufficient, we are now independent. Okay, we are no more dependent on anyone else. So you have this boycott China and everything is there. Corona entered in this period. And why corona is disastrous? Because I would say, and this is my argument, you can differ me if you want. If corona came 10 years before, you would not have been so much disastrous. Because लक्षात घ्या की युनायटेड नेशन सारखी बॉडी असताना करोनावर एकाही पद्धतीनं सामूहिक आपल्याला निर्णय झालेला दिसत नाही. इनफॅक्ट युनायटेड स्टेट्स took out itself from WHO. आणि WHO चा जो काही रोल होता चायनाच्या कोरोनाच्या बाबतीत, चायनाचा जो काही रोल होता, हा सगळा इतका वेग होता, इतका बेजबाबदारपणे होता की आपण एक जग म्हणून कोरोनाला समर्थपणे सामोरच गेलो नाही. वी नेव्हर बीन टुगेदर टू फाईट अगेन्स्ट कोरोना. आणि मग त्याच्यामुळं आपल्याला हा जो राष्ट्रवाद वाढलेला दिसतो तो फार वाईट होतो. आणि त्यामुळं जो शेवटचा सेक्शन होता, द लास्ट section which I described is ended with corona, but the game is not over yet, because for me today's international setting has many challenges. For example, migration. If you see, the ISIS, a terrorist organization, came only because of migration. Libya, Egypt, Syria, यातून जे मायग्रेशन झालं आणि त्यातून मग वेगळ्या प्रकारच्या देशांची राष्ट्राची मांडणी झाली आणि त्यातून इसिस सारखे प्रकार उदयास आले. लुक ॲट अर्बनायझेशन, किती मोठ्या प्रमाणात अर्बनायझेशन वाढलेलं आहे. सी ग्लोबल डिस्पॅरिटी. ग्लोबल डिस्पॅरिटी वन इम्पॉर्टंट थिंग. लुक ॲट आपण कोरोनाच्या लसीबद्दल बाबतीत इतक्या मोठ्या प्रमाणात श्रीमंत देशांनी इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करून ठेवलेलं आहे की आता गरीब देशात जर ती लस द्यायची म्हटली तर दे डोंट हॅव मनी बिकॉज ऑलरेडी द बिग कॉर्पोरेट्स, बिग नेशन्स मोनोपोलाइज the vaccine. I call it as vaccine nationalism. Terrorism, I don't want to say much on this because we all are experiencing. Environment, look at Maldives. आज बऱ्याच वर्तमानपत्रात आपण वाचत असतो की करीना कपूर मालदीव्सला गेली, हा गेला, ती गेली. परंतु मालदीव्स आपल्यापैकी काही जणांना लक्षात असेल की 15-20 वर्षांनी जगाच्या नकाशावरच नसणार आहे. There will be no Maldives on the earth because of climate change and environment. Do we have any kind of policy? Global pandemic, as I said, drugs and small arms. So at the end, I just wanted to say you, I have given these glimpses only because let me take you back when 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, we were not capable. Despite that, we had some kind of missions, international missions, colonialism, apartheid, anything missions. But now, sadly, actually, we are on the path of parochialism and introvert. So the real problems are migration, urbanization, global disparity, terrorism, environment, global pandemic, drugs and small arms. But we are still engaged in the border war, border conflict, and state to state conversation and state to state affairs. I think in the next 40 to 50 years, we have to operate in this world. And I don't see India's exceptional behavior and policy in the near future. Thank you very much.
गवळीच्या रस्त्याला लय मोठं पडवं नाही तरी मकान सोयाबीन मोकळीच ना
Thank you very much. I'm ending here.
मोकळीच्यासाठी काय आमची त्या नाव आकृष्ट पण माझी
Hello.
Hello.
आला 40 दोघं नवरा बायको 12 वाजता खाली तिकडेच टाइमपास केला.
हॅलो
तुषार सर.
हा
हॅलो.
हॅलो
सर सरांचं लेक्चर संपलंय बहुतेक आता क्वेश्चन हवर घ्यायचं आहे का?
ओके
घ्यायचं
मी स्टार्ट करतो ना. 1 मिनिट योगेश सर 1 मिनिट.
येस सर.
हा रोहन सर.
येस सर.
हा आपला आता व्हिडिओ चालू करता का जरा?
व्हिडिओ चालू होत नाही माझ्या मोबाईलचा. मी परत एकदा
नाही का?
लॅपटॉपवर घेतो. हा
बरं ठीक आहे. मग क्वेश्चन आन्सर सेशन चालू करायचं का?
हो.
हा थँक्यू सर. Thanks a lot for Rohan sir for delivering very informative lecture about India's foreign policy. Now may I request to all participants to ask question to the today's expert. हम अभी क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन शुरू करने जा रहे हैं. जिन पार्टिसिपेंट को क्वेश्चन सर से पूछना है एक्सपर्ट से वो पूछ सकते हैं. Please.
Sir, may I? Hello.
Okay, Sneha madam, please.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Sneha Kulkarni from Boston College, Nasik. As you have delivered lecture on foreign policy of India, and you said there are no positive chances of a highly intense foreign policy delivered by India. But can you elaborate maritime foreign policy of India, especially the necklace of diamond, to counter China's string of pearls in Indian Ocean region? Along with that, not only India expanded its region to maritime borders, but also in the continental region, including a country like Mongolia, where Modi visited. The Modi was the first prime minister who visited Mongolia. It means he's extending his foreign policy relations to continental region also and maritime region also. to get vote in United Nations Security Council's permanent seat, and in the necklace of diamonds, the various islands like Seychelles or specifically the Vanilla Islands. So, will you be able to elaborate the maritime foreign policy of India, especially the necklace of diamond, to our viewers?
Yeah. Thank
Your
you.
view, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. This is very important questions. Important question. Look, let me start with what is string of pearl, especially and where this terminology came. Okay, my argument and understanding is that while you are discussing to encounter China, or while you are understanding the China's posture, especially in the string of pearls, you need to understand where this terminology came, and you will be surprised. This terminology first mentioned in 2000 report, that is Energy Future in Asia, drafted by Department of Defense of United States. They mentioned that this terminology, neither India nor China, they started to understand what is this. In I think Gurpreet Khurana in 2008 wrote an article about string of pearls. Means basically this concept lies in military rather than diplomatic channel. So for me, this is American conception, string of pearl, which has no. Second, as I said, the India's maritime dimension. In fact, if you read K.M. Panikar, Indian in Indian Ocean, you will be surprised in a sense that India lost its freedom because it's lost its control, or it's neglected on sea capability. And there are a number of other things, but especially this. In 1990s, late 90s, if you see the Commodore Uday Bhaskar and others, they were also mentioning the same point, that India had neglected its maritime tradition, its maritime culture. Now, if you see 2016 to 2020 budget, look, the financial matters are very important. You visited anywhere, you go to Mongolia, you go to Australia, you go to United States 10 times, doesn't matter. Matter is how you utilize that things. And for me, the best way of utilization is how you invest how you make monetary investment. If you see 2016 to 2020, the amount or the budgetary amount to Navy is decreasing day by day. Means already we called it as a neglected umbrella of the service branch, and now despite that we are neglecting, we are decreasing the amount to Navy. And this is very again the second, this look at the aircraft carriers and what you say, aircraft carriers. We are adopting Indo-Pacific policy, where Mongolia comes and the Western Pacific comes. Okay, but we have only 2 aircraft carriers, right? I think third is in making, but we have 2 aircraft carriers. So the capability and financial investment are less. So I think we have to change our mindset by concluding, or by concluding who visited where. That is not the standard, at least for me, to understand foreign policy. What is exactly going in the ground, that is more important. And that's why I said that there is no positive aspects in India's foreign policy, unless, because I said the international structure is itself changing from maritime to from Europe to Asia, from continental to maritime, and here we are lagging behind. If you see the modernization program of China, you see modernization program of United States, and again, trust me, Navy is very important phenomena, not only from the military projection capability, but diplomatically it's very important, because at the same time it gives you a trade, and at the same time it gives you security. So don't we should not see, we must not see rather maritime perspective from the military point of view. It is beyond that. And I think here is your answer, that string of pearl, if you have a string of pearl, we have Indo-Pacific. If you have China-Pakistani economic corridor, we have Indo-Pacific economic corridor. The question is, where is the investment and where is the budget allocation? Thank you.
All right.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. A very good afternoon. First of all, it was a completely brief explanation that you gave about the Indian foreign policy. I am Sachin Kumar, and I'm the student of Defense Strategic Study. So you raised a vast concept of the Indian foreign policy. But my question is, it's a long question, but it's in a general sense. Like, since from a long time, India approached the policy of a non-alignment. But I would add here non-alignment as a, to see India as an independent, right? To see his political interest, his international relations, how we want to incorporate in our foreign policy, like the cultural values, democratic values. But the main thing is that, like the US, recently, the case that happened in the United States of America at the Capitol Hill, like the biggest things they says about that, why the America is so superpower, because of their soft power, because of their cultural values, their rights given to the human values so much, the democratic process, and beside that, they are having the hard power, which is the mighty power. But recently, if you see the Force magazine chief, Parveen Sahni, he is talking about these days, like we also have a discussion in our this seminar in just 2-3 days that we are talking about the hybrid war. But recently, the China is talking about the electromagnetic spectrum war, right, sir? And the kind of situation that emerged in Indian scenario, that our soldiers are paying the prices of our foreign policies. It seems like we are not ready to counter China at the moment, because the kind of dimension, the kind of war we want to fight with China, he is taking it to the advanced level. They are trying to coping with the America. But meanwhile, we are still struggling on the basis of tactics level. It means we are still talking about the last 20 years beyond, like the Kargil war. But China is not looking that way. But what China is doing is that, as a member raised a question of the string of pearl. Recently, yesterday, our Foreign Minister Jaishankar Prasadji went to the Maldives, and he made some kind of political dialogues, and we own that island, that India will invest in that, and we will make of that, right? But what my question here is that, like, I feel personally there is a sluggish of Indian foreign policy in last six years. मुझे लगा कि पिछले 6 साल के अंदर हमारी जो फॉरेन पॉलिसी है वो काफी डिक्लाइन हो चुकी है. हम लोग we are somewhere declined to the US, but US is a different corner, right? But मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि हमारी जो फॉरेन पॉलिसी है, क्या वो हमें चाइना के खिलाफ काउंटर करने में एप्लीकेबल है? और सबसे बड़ा इशू इसमें क्या है? सबसे बड़ा इशू ये है कि हमारे सोल्जर्स को at the Navy level, at the Army level, at the Air Force level, they are paying the prices. And despite of that, the power that we were having as a soft nation, we are losing it. So आप इस चीज को कैसे देखते हैं कि हमारी फॉरेन पॉलिसी के अंदर जिस तरह से चाइना हमको काउंटर कर रहा है? He has taken the Gwadar port, he has in Djibouti, he is also having an island in Maldives for 15 years. He has taken an island in Sri Lanka for the 99 years of lease. So he is surrounding us, and still we are talking about the hyper nationalism, like the statement made by the leaders, which sometime And due to that, our soldiers are paying the prices by losing their lives. And we have seen the latest development in the Doklam, where our 20 soldiers has been lost out. So आप क्या देखते हैं इस perspectives में कि जिस तरीके से अमेरिका की पॉलिसी थोड़ी चेंज हो रही है सॉफ्ट पावर के तौर पर, it seems that we are lacking as a soft power also, but we are losing also as a hard power. तो आप क्या देखते हैं कि आने वाले कुछ सालों के अंदर हम लोग चाइना को काउंटर करने के लिए कितना तैयार हैं? Sorry, it's a long question, but I want in a broader sense. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. In fact, आपने ही शायद आपके सवालों का जवाब दे दिया है अगर आप ठीक तरह से सुनोगे तो। लेकिन मुझे ऐसा हमेशा लगता है कि जैसे मैंने अभी कहा कि आपका what is your base of foreign policy? Okay, determinants of foreign policy we can say in a different words. Okay, I think you are right in a sense that the decision mechanism of foreign policy has shifted from diplomat to military personnel. Okay, military area. I will give you I don't know whether I should say it or not, but policy and strategy are two different things. Okay, strategy means use of force for political achievements. Okay, policy is broader than that, and I think we are looking everything from the strategic perspective, right? If you look at the simple thing, let's say give a Maldives example, right? Maldives is a very geostrategically very important nation, but as I said, that visit doesn't matter, you have to go. Okay, you can't count your success by who visited where.
Agree,
right?
sir. Agree.
But look at the Maldives few years back. We gifted them what? A cricket ground.
Yes.
Okay, and what we supposed to give? Let's say a very a ship, okay, or a submarine, okay, for them. But what we are doing is actually we are giving a nonsense things, we can say, that is not at par with our foreign policy. Okay, and as you rightly pointed out, and I have written many times that let's say in a very informal language, okay, चाइना और हमारे बीच जो भी प्रॉब्लम है वो हमारे दोनों के बीच है, उसमें यूएस के इंटरवेंशन की जरूरत नहीं, ठीक है? Because when US was not with us, from that period we are handling these situations. And look at, मैं जो कह रहा था ना कि फॉरेन पॉलिसी को थोड़ा सा मार्जिनलाइज किया गया है, आई विल गिव यू एग्जांपल. देखो 2003 से 2013 तक अब चाइना और इंडिया के बीच का वार्ता निकालो, आप उसका स्टडी करो तो उसमें आपको ऐसा पता चलेगा कि यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ने जितनी बार अपनी वार्ता जापान से नहीं की है, यूनाइटेड किंगडम से नहीं की है, उतनी बार भारत और चीन के बीच वार्तालाप हुआ है. ओके, दिस वाज द मोस्ट फ्रूटफुल डायलॉग इन दैट पीरियड. सो ऐसा लगता है मुझे कि फॉरेन पॉलिसी की जगह मिलिट्री स्ट्रेटेजी ने ले रखी है. हर बार अगर हम स्ट्रेटेजी की तरफ से सोचेंगे तो हम पॉलिसी को थोड़ा सा निगलेक्ट करते, उसकी वजह से हो रहा है. एक चीज. दूसरी चीज, मुझे थोड़ा सा, अगर यहाँ एमए के लोग हैं ना तो उनको पता नहीं है कि जो सामने हमारे दिख रहा है, what we can see is really exist, that is most important thing. For example, and this is very important to understand, especially when we are organizing workshop like this. Okay, ये जो काउंटर है, कंपटीशन है, इंटरेस्ट है या अनार्की है, ये सारे जो वर्ड्स है ना वो रियलिज्म से निकल के आते हैं.
Yes.
Okay, which were dominated in the in US. So we are importing that one. Okay, we are taking from America. There are another question. For example, look at India, China. You must remember Dwarkanath Kotnis. Okay, in 1990s, where he went to China and provided medical assistance. Now there are a number of issues. Tell me why we can't learn from China about Shanghai. Okay, you must remember that when Manmohan Singh said that Mumbai sa Shanghai karaycha hai. Okay, Mumbai ka Shanghai. What he wanted to say? I think Shanghai is the first country which built on the basis of maritime resources. Okay, shipping industry. These are number of factors we have to change our signpost. Okay, for example, as I said, urbanization, climate change. we देखो अल्टीमेटली क्या होने वाला है, जो नॉन ट्रेडिशनल सिक्योरिटी है, अगर देखो आज कोरोना आ गया है, लेट अस टेक एग्जांपल ऑफ कोरोना, उसमें से सबसे ज्यादा ह्यूमन लॉस किसका होगा? इंडिया और चाइना, बिकॉज दे आर 37% population. So whether you have to concentrate on state affairs or human affairs, when you change your signpost from state to human, you will realize that the problems which we are facing, especially India, China, Asian, South Asian countries, are different from the problem which we are facing Europe, United States. So I think we need to, as a student of Defense and Strategic Studies Foreign Policy, we need to brought these things. So counter करेंगे, वो जो मीडिया की जो भाषा है ना, उसको हम धड़ा से ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे, रोंग दिया, ये लैंग्वेज हमारी नहीं है. Okay, we should use different languages where we can cooperate. We have to search for avenues. Blue economy एक बहुत बड़ा एक उभल के आ रहा है. We have to concentrate on that. Natural resources, we have to concentrate on that. So these all are the impact of America. मतलब आप जो अमेरिका की जो बात कर रहे हैं ना, वो मुझे नॉलेज का जो इमिटेशन हो रहा है, कॉपी पेस्ट हो रहा है ना, डेंजरस लगता है. थैंक यू. आई होप मतलब मेरा ऐसा मानना नहीं कि मैंने आपका आंसर दे दिया है और मेरे पास सब कुछ सब सवालों का आंसर है, बट दिस इज जस्ट माय वन वे ऑफ पुटिंग माय व्यू. थैंक यू.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anybody?
Okay, I have one more question. I have one more question, sir.
Ask Tushar sir if he allows. Otherwise, we can discuss later.
No, last question, sir.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, thank you, sir. So my latest question is that the Joe Biden administration has taken the charge now, right? And like the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, if we see the arena of Barack Obama as a president and Biden is completely following the process of the Biden Obama process, but the way Donald Trump countered the China and his foreign policy, it was some kind of a relaxation to the India to act as a global market. But recently what happened, as you know, Biden has already told that their biggest threat is not China, but still they are countering the Russian. And recently they have put a sanction against Russia on the different party members of the Russia, and who tried to bring out the Vladimir Putin scams, that he has a big palace and he has done a huge amount of scam. So don't you think so the policy of sanction by the United States of America लग रहा है कि वो थोड़ी धीमी पड़ गई है, and that's why China and the Russia has the joint interrogation in the case of to handle the Indo-Pacific. It is raising a serious concern for India to act at the Indo-Pacific as well as in the Indian Ocean. That's my question, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think I have mentioned a debate during my last section. That is that there are already debates going on whether America is in decline. Okay. I would ask whether America is reliable power. Okay. So look, America behaves according its national interest. कल अगर उस national interest के बीच आप भी आ जाओगे, मतलब इंडिया आ जाएगा, तो you affect. And इतिहास में there are two examples in history. One is distant history and one is recent history. As I mentioned, this Hillary Clinton's this one is Henry Kissinger's secret visit to China. Okay, in 1960s, late 1960s. What happened? The entire posture has been changed. Okay, China went to America group and United Soviet Union to counter Soviet Union. Okay, means
In
what I
1974.
take 1970, what I take from this is that US can do anything. Okay, and second example is in 2012 or 2013, US came with the concept of G2, global 2. Means we have a G7, we have a G77, we have a G21 like that. G2, and need not to say that who are these G2? They're America and China. Okay, so to, if I understand your question rightly, my first proposition is America reliable partner? Okay, despite Biden came into the power, the limitations of it is very early to say or to judge Biden's administration, because I firmly believe that America is America. No Biden, no Obama, and no Trump. But the way Trump has damaged America in both level, in foreign policy and domestic level, I will it take more than 4 years to Biden to manage this conflict. Okay, so and there will be a paucity of a sole superpower or power, and where China can take advantage. Where that's why I said in 1991 I mentioned my look. You have to concentrate on Asian countries. Asian countries are best countries in this direction, because you see ASEAN. If I think I'm not, it's 1979 creation, 1994, 1967. Okay, 67, 1993 for this European Union creation, right?
Yes.
Okay, but they are still operating in a collective manner, and they have their concern with China also. So Asian countries are the good forum to not counter. I'm not using counter and compete, but to balance the Chinese power. This is the good word I think we have to use. And instead, we should ask our question. We should ask this question: is America is a reliable partner in any sense? Thank you.
So that's why sorry for a moment. That's why I just talk about the soft power, like the way America behaved all over the world as a soft power to protect the human rights, intellectual property rights as well. But I was adding a question is that the way USA put sanctions in their foreign policy, like they did to China, they did to Russia. So Russia and China has a kind of a match together, and the way we have a relation with the Russia. But it seems Russia has putting his efforts toward the Pakistan to have the military, exercises as well, which recently we didn't see in the past side. But मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जिस तरह से कोलैबोरेशन रशिया और चाइना का हो रहा है, उससे लग रहा है कि somewhere we are losing with Russia in that sense, and that's why China is more aggressive towards India to counter all the Asian members and to act in the Indo-Pacific. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Can I add something?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Can I add something? Yeah.
Rohan sir,
Because
last question. One more participant joining with us from London, Mr. Abhijit Nagvekar. Please ask the question for the expert. This is the last question.
yeah, actually, this is not.
Please, Abhijit.
I'm not asking. Thank you, Tushar sir. I'm not asking a question. I wanted to add a few things. What the professor had said and the other participant was asking. Actually, मैं हिंदी में भी बोलूंगा क्योंकि उनको हिंदी में ज्यादा समझ में आएगा. एकदम सरल भाषा में बोलूं तो अमेरिका को चाइना इसीलिए चाहिए क्योंकि अमेरिका का इकोनॉमी चाइना पे चलता है, क्योंकि चाइना के प्रोडक्ट, क्योंकि अमेरिका के जितने भी प्रोडक्ट्स है वो चाइना से आते हैं, मेड इन चाइना रहते हैं. तो अमेरिका को चाइना चाहिए, लेकिन वो सुपर पावर बने नहीं, इसीलिए वो कुछ ना कुछ करते रहे. यूएस खुद सुपर पावर रहे, मेंटेन रहे अपना स्टेटस, इसीलिए वो ये करती है. और चाइना के जितने भी प्रोडक्ट्स है वो यूएस में भी जाते हैं, और चाइना जो कंट्रोल करने को देख रहा है पूरे वर्ल्ड में, वो यूएस काउंटर करने को देखता है. हॅलो,
ओके अभिजित,
आवाज होता ना माझा? मी बोललो ते कळलं ना तुम्हाला?
यस समजलं.
ओके. हा, तेच सांगायचं. हे लोक काय सगळे भावनिक होऊन ते न्यूजपेपर मधली भाषा बोलतायत सगळे, ते
Okay.
न्यूजपेपरली भाषा ते भाजपची असेल किंवा कुठली ते तसं न करता न्यूट्रली ऍज अ स्टुडंट म्हणून प्रत्येक गोष्ट रीडिंग बिटवीन द लाइन्स वगैरह केलं पाहिजे. वो सिर्फ न्यूज़पेपर की भाषा मत देखो, आप जितने भी है सब स्टूडेंट्स समझ के जो प्रोफेसर्स बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पे, लेक्चरर्स बोल रहे हैं, वो वैसा पढ़िए, वैसा गाइडलाइंस लेके वो पढ़िए. अभी इन्होंने बहुत अच्छी बात बताई मेरी टाइम जो इंडिया के बारे में, मेरी टाइम स्ट्रैटेजी के बारे में जबरदस्त बताया आपने, क्योंकि यही तो स्ट्रैटेजी चोलास के टाइम पे हमारे नेवी सिस्टम थी, और बाद में छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराजा ने वापस नेवी बिल्ड की थी, लेकिन हमने वापस उसको भुला दिया है सब. तो एनीवे ये मुझे सिर्फ ऐड करना था कि अमेरिका हमें अपना इंटरेस्ट देखती है. सर ने सही बोला है, अपना खुद का इंटरेस्ट देखती है, वो किसी और का देखता नहीं. क्योंकि
My friend, you are
ओसामा
taking a different perspective, right? You are taking a different perspective. You cannot say that कि I'm just trying to copy from the newspaper sites or and all such things. We are talking about the really issues which are happening, and everybody at the international level, every country talks about their own interest, and that's all international relationship. There is no friend. There is a saying in international relationship: there is no friend forever, and there is no enemy forever. So you have to act as per your interest. So what the question I asked from the fellow professor, it's all based on the relevant issues which we're talking about. But you cannot say that you are talking from that bogus language and newspaper cuttings. No, my friend, we are talking about the United Nations issues which are happening, which are pertinent, and which are relevant in the present society. And we have to. I'm asking those questions. You cannot blame anybody that you are getting a point from the newspaper cutting all that. No, we have to be specific. We cannot talk about the hyper-nationalism. We have to act, we have to protect our integrity as per the interest of India. So I'm sorry to say that. Please, you should think before you say something like that. Thank you so
so
much.
the reason is
Okay.
because here
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abhijit and Sachin.
मला फक्त एक जस्ट ऍड करायचंय, फक्त एक ऍड करायचंय, जस्ट वन लाईन, की आता जे ब्रेक्झिटचा मी इथे ऍक्च्युअल एक्सपिरियन्स घेतोय. ब्रेक्झिट, वाय डिड ब्रेक्झिट हॅपन? बिकॉज हे जे इस्लामिक वगैरे जे त्यांनी म्हटलंय, एक्झॅक्टली मी ऍक्च्युअल सिच्युएशन इथे बघतोय इथे लंडन मध्ये, वेर आय स्टे in UK. I will just add one more thing. In entire UK, London is the most affected with COVID, and in London there is a location called Newham, is a county called Newham, and it is the most highly affected with COVID. And one reason is the population of this Newham is mostly Asians, and the Asians are from, I have to say this, it's from Bangladesh and Pakistan. Anyway, and Eastern Europeans. Few
Okay,
of them
अभिजित आपण हा विषय नंतर डिस्कस करू याच्यामध्ये. आता उशीर झालाय आपल्याला. ओके. थँक्यू टू ऑल पार्टिसिपंट. we are going to vote of thanks. May I request to Professor Dr. Yogesh Borse from Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, MJ College, Jalgaon. He is giving to vote of thanks. Professor Yogesh Borse, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Today I would like to vote of thanks to especially Dr. Rohan Chaudhary, sir, who delivered the excellent and fabulous lecture. आज रोहन सर ने जो भी लेक्चर जो एनालिसिस किया है वो फॉरेन पॉलिसी के बारे में, दैट इज रियली रिकमेंडेड. तो नॉर्थ महाराष्ट्र यूनिवर्सिटी के डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ डिफेंस एंड स्ट्रेटेजिक स्टडीज के ओर से, एंड खानदेश हमारे जो भी नॉर्थ महाराष्ट्र है उस रीजन में सभी हमारे डिफेंस स्टडीज के प्रोफेसर जो भी युवा वर्क है, तो हमारी यूनिटी की ओर से भी आपको स्पेशल थैंक्स हम लोग बोलना चाहेंगे कि मकाइस में या कोलकाता रीजन में आप रह के भी आपने काफी सारी एक 100 years का, एक सेंचुरी का जो भी फॉरेन पॉलिसी है, जो लैकुनाज है, तो वो बेहतरीन तरीके से आपने प्रेजेंट किया सर. एंड डेफिनेटली दैट विल द मोस्ट बेनिफिशियल टू ऑल ऑफ अस. इवन काफी सारे नए प्रोफेसर्स भी जुड़े हैं इस साल, तो उनको भी ये जो नया अप्रोच आपका था वो बहुत ही काफी पसंद आया है होगा. 100% हमें तो पसंद ही आया. एंड ये कोर्स में आपने ये जिस तरीके से आपने जो कंस्ट्रक्शन किया है न्यू इमेजिनेशन का या नए दौर के लिए जो हम लोग को तैयार होना चाहिए, जिस फॉरेन पॉलिसी का हम लोग प्रतीक्षा कर रहे हैं, एग्रेसिव एंड डिफेंसिव के जिस तरीके से आपने डिस्कशन किया, एनालिसिस किया, वो डेफिनेटली हमें मोस्ट बेनिफिशियल रहेगा. So हम लोग once again I thanks to all of you, all participants also thank you. आप बेहतरीन तरीके से ये कंसेप्ट को समझ लिया और डिस्कशन भी आपने बहुत ही जनरली एक्सेप्ट किया. तो थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू रोहन सर.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
नाशिकला गेला का त्यांना
हेलो हेलो कल के लेक्चर्स के लिए some इंस्ट्रक्शन है. कल हम बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक के ऊपर डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. उसके बारे में थोड़ा 1 मिनट आपका लेता हूँ. कल का जो टॉपिक है वो एड्रेस करने वाले हैं कल के स्पीकर डॉक्टर नंदकिशोर कुमार. इज फ्रॉम पुणे. ही इज अ रिटायर्ड प्रोफेसर फ्रॉम नेशनल डिफेंस एकेडमी. उनका जो टॉपिक है डिसएंगेजमेंट फ्रॉम इंडो चाइना स्टैंड ऑफ. तो काफी अच्छा लेक्चर है. अभी रिसेंटली इंडो चाइना स्टैंड डिसएंगेजमेंट ओवर हो चुका है. तो काफी सरकार उस एरिया के बारे में इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन के ऊपर बहुत अच्छा स्टडी है. तो आज जैसा आपने एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट किया तो कल सेम टाइम आप एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट करें. इसीलिए आज आपसे विदा लेता हूँ. और आखिर में रोहन सर का पूरे नॉर्थ महाराष्ट्र यूनिवर्सिटी कवियत्री बड़ाभाई चौधरी नॉर्थ महाराष्ट्र यूनिवर्सिटी की तरफ से ऑनरेबल वाइस चांसलर, प्रो वाइस चांसलर, ऑनरेबल रजिस्ट्रार की तरफ से, डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ से उनका तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ. और ये सेशन अब हम यही खत्म करते ये आपको अनाउंस करता हूँ. मिलते हैं कल सेम टाइम. बाय बाय.